Welcome to the Filipina Confession. I'm your eyes inside the Manila Matrix, and today I'm dropping a bomb. Here is the brutal truth. You aren't the silver fox you think you are when you land at NAIA. Dating in the Philippines is like playing poker with a stacked deck, and you're the whale everyone is waiting to fleece. I'm giving you the raw, unedited war manual today because my friends are laughing at your charm while counting your pesos. Pay attention. This isn't a love story, it's survival. You're 50, maybe 60, fresh off a messy divorce in Ohio, and suddenly, a 20-year-old girl from Cebu is calling you Handsome Joe. Wake up, Kuya. You've got a limited 401k and even less time to waste on illusions of grandeur. You represent a logistical exit ramp, a winning lottery ticket she's desperate to cash in before her youth expires. In this high stakes game, every I love you is a bet, and if you don't see the bluff, you're already broke. You've been warned. Pay focus. I've sat in the sari sari stores and the high end BGC bars, listening to my girls plot their next move. We know your loneliness profile better than you know your own social security number. The risk here isn't just a broken heart. It's a total hostile takeover of your retirement fund and your sanity. If you think you're special because you're American, you're the easiest mark at the table. Now sit down, shut up, and listen to the rules of the house before you lose everything. Imagine you're at a table where the house always wins, and the dealer is a girl with a smile that could melt a glacier. You're playing with an open hand while she's holding four aces under the table. Each dinner you buy, each grab car you book, it's all part of a calculated financial flow. My friends aren't looking for a soulmate, they're looking for a predictable pension and a green card destination. If you can't handle the heat of this cold reality, get back on the plane. Stop looking in the mirror and thinking your dad bod is suddenly a magnet for swimsuit models. It's not your gym routine that's attracting them, it's the blue passport in your pocket and the predictability of your monthly check. You're being onboarded as the CEO of a struggling family enterprise in the provinces. Every LDR message you receive is a progress report for her family board of directors. Don't be the captain who sinks his own ship for a plastic mermaid song. Pay very close attention. I'm about to break down the 5 strategic principles that will either save your life or make you realize you've already lost. This is the black box of the Filipina heart, and once I open it, there's no going back to your sweet delusions. We're moving from the exit strategy protocol straight into the pensioner's predictability. Here's the deal. I'm going to show you exactly how we hunt, how we play, and how we win. Now, tell me the absolute truth. Do you want love, sex, or survival? You think you're walking into a romance, but you've actually stepped onto a live battlefield where the buildings have eyes and every smile is a flank maneuver. Error number 1. Believing you're the destination. To my girls, you are nothing but a paved runway at NAIA. Take Mark from Florida. He spent $30,000 on a fiancée in Makati, thinking they were building a nest. The second her visa cleared, she vanished into the LAX crowds. You aren't his partner, Joe. You're just his ticket out of the province. Now, let's talk about your predictability profile, which is essentially your death warrant. Error number 2 is playing poker with your cards face up. You've got that steady pension or disability check, and you brag about it like it's a mating call. My friends love a man with a fixed schedule because it makes you easy to harvest. I watched a retired teacher from Texas lose his entire savings because he synced his love to his monthly deposit. In this urban jungle, if she knows your budget, she owns your soul. The most pathetic trap is the loneliness profile. You haven't had a genuine compliment since the Clinton administration, so when a girl calls you daddy and strokes your ego, you melt. This is error number 3, falling for the emotional debt trap. You're like a thirsty captain steering his ship straight into the rocks for a plastic mermaid song. I've seen men buy iPhones for sick cousins just to keep that simulated warmth alive. You're paying for a performance, Kuya, and the ticket price is your entire dignity and your future. Don't think you're the only soldier in this sector. You're competing with 1,000 other silver foxes who are just as desperate and twice as rich. The streets of Manila are a grid of calculated ambushes. My girls compare notes in the group chats while you're busy picking out engagement rings at the mall. They rank you by your extractable value and your willingness to ignore the obvious red flags. If you think your Western logic applies here, you've already been flanked. The war is real and you're losing ground fast. You're sitting there sweating, wondering if your sweetheart is laughing at you right now. Spoiler alert, she is, and she's doing it over a dinner you paid for. These first three errors, the runway, the open hand, and the mermaid's song, are just the diagnostic phase of your downfall. You've been diagnosed as a terminal mark, a logistical casualty in the making. But believe me, this is still the easy level of the game. The next error is where things get truly dark, destroying your wallet and your reputation forever. You think that po and ando, she says, is genuine respect, right? Wrong, Kuya. It's the Lolo respect mask, a cultural performance designed to keep you comfortable while she slowly bleeds you dry. My friends use this mask to hide the fact that they aren't physically attracted to your aging body. They treat you like a grandfather with benefits because it's easier to manage a Lolo than a real partner. If you step out of line, that sweet obedience turns into passive-aggressive contempt faster than a jeepney ride through Manila. Your biggest weakness isn't your wallet, it's your desperate need to feel like a man again. She knows you haven't been validated since the Cold War, so she feeds you tiny scraps of ego-boosting praise. This opens the breach for her consistency tests. She'll manufacture a crisis, a sick pig in the province or a broken roof, just to see how much investment you'll tolerate before you push back. If you don't set a hard limit on your generosity, you're just a passenger in a taxi she's driving toward a cliff. Let's look at the family payroll integration. You aren't just dating a girl, you're being onboarded as the silent financier of a struggling barangay enterprise. Suddenly, her brother needs a motorcycle for Grab, and her niece needs tuition for a nursing degree she'll never finish. You feel like a hero, but you're really just the CEO of a bankrupt company. My girls laugh because you're paying dividends to people who don't even know your middle name. Every peso you send is a nail in your own retirement coffin. Then comes the jealousy play, the oldest trick in the Makati handbook. She'll mention a rich Japanese suitor or a persistent ex just to trigger your insecurity. You react by buying her a new iPhone or a gold necklace to claim your territory. That impulsive decision is exactly what she wanted. You're paying for a simulation of exclusivity while she's checking her DMs the moment you go to sleep. It's a high-interest loan on a relationship that has zero equity. Don't be the fool who buys the whole store. You have to decide right now. Are you the captain of your own ship? Or are you just a fare-paying passenger in a taxi, being driven by a 20-year-old's ambition? If you keep negotiating with hope, you'll keep losing the war. You're trying to buy a soul that isn't for sale, only for rent. Most of you are too scared to face the cold, hard vacuum of reality, so you keep swiping that card. But listen closely, because the game changes entirely when you finally stop negotiating with hope and start. Stop crying into your San Miguel and listen. I'm done being your tour guide through this minefield. Now, I'm your commanding officer. If you want to stop being a walking ATM, you need a flight plan. Think of your life like a runway at NAIA. You don't just throttle up and hope for the best. You run a cold, hard checklist before you even think about takeoff. If one light is red, you abort. No excuses, no but she's different. Are you ready to stop being the prey? The first phase is the binary filter. From now on, there is no maybe in your vocabulary. If she asks for a loan for her sister's tuition within the first month, she's a no-go. If her 5-year plan is just a list of US cities she wants to visit, she's a no-go. You are looking for a logistical partner, not a charity case with a pretty face. Apply this filter ruthlessly like a customs officer checking for contraband. If she fails one metric, she's off the manifest immediately. Now we move to the stress test. You need to see the ugly before you commit your pension. Deny her something small, a new pair of shoes or a trip to Boracay, and watch the mask slip. Does the Lolo respect turn into a cold, silent pout? Does she mention another Kuya who is more generous? That's your confirmation. A real connection survives a no, but a transaction dies the moment the credit stops flowing. You aren't being mean, you're being a tactical genius protecting his perimeter. This is the decision matrix, your ultimate go no go gauge. Every interaction must be logged against her extractable value versus your emotional ROI. If you are sending more than 20% of your disposable income to the province, you are a failed CEO. If she refuses to show you her phone but knows your bank balance, you are compromised. A successful takeoff requires a balanced load. If the family payroll is too heavy, you will crash at the end of the runway. Trust the data, not your heart. Grab a pen and some paper because we are moving from theory into total field domination. I've given you the framework, but the next act is where we execute the hostile takeover of your own life. You are going to learn how to flip the script so she's the one auditioning for a spot on your plane, not the other way around. Don't blink, don't look back, and for God's sake, don't send any more Gcash tonight. The real war starts now. Pay very close attention. Imagine the scene. You're in a high-end Makati condo you're subsidizing, and the ping pong match begins. She's not hitting one ball, she's firing a dozen at your head. It starts with a tearful FaceTime from the province about a stolen Carabao, followed by an aggressive physical reward for your sympathy, and then a sudden cold mention of her German friend who's visiting next week. If you react to the crisis, you lose. If you react to the jealousy, you lose. You're swinging your paddle at shadows while she controls the rhythm. This is your trial by fire, the moment where your 401k meets her manufactured desperation. She's watching your pupils dilate, waiting for that old silver fox ego to crack and reach for the wallet. Most of you fold here because the silence feels like death. But look at the data, not the drama. Is the Carabao real, or is it just a strategic lob to get you out of position? If you don't hold your ground now, you'll be chasing her across the table for the rest of your life. I've seen men who ignored my manual and tried to buy the win during this climax. They sent the $5,000, they blocked the German rival, and they thought they secured the match. 6 months later, they were sitting in a Bahay Kubo with no AC, watching their wife text her actual boyfriend on a phone they paid for. They reacted without position and lost the point before the ball even touched their side. Don't be the amateur who pays for the privilege of being cheated on. When you finally say no to the chaos, something magical happens in the Manila Matrix. The ping pong match stops because she realizes you aren't playing for her entertainment anymore. You've moved from being a reactive target to a dominant director. She might scream, she might pack a bag, or she might suddenly become the most submissive, Lolo-respecting girl you've ever met. Either way, you've won because you've protected the manifest. You aren't a victim of her ambition, you're the architect of your own survival. Here is the final law of the house, the sentence that determines if you leave as a king or a casualty. In this game, your greatest weapon isn't your money or your passport. It's your absolute willingness to walk away from the table. If you can't walk away from the perfect girl when she breaks the protocol, then you are just a high-value chip waiting to be cashed. Pay attention, because the next step is the total resolution of the game. Are you truly ready for the exit? So, here is the final score of the Manila Matrix, Kuya. You've seen the flight plan, the exit strategy, the pensioner's predictability, the emotional debt trap, the Lolo mask, and the family payroll integration. The moral maxim of this high-stakes game is brutal but simple. In the international market, you are either the strategic player at the table or the high-value chip in someone else's hand. Stop negotiating with your loneliness and start auditing your ROI. If you can't walk away from a bad merger, you've already lost the war. Think of the abela and the flower. A flower doesn't chase the bee across the garden screaming for attention. It stands in its own vibrant value and waits for the right timing. Your blue passport and your hard earned 401k are your nectar, but you've been spraying it like a desperate gardener in a drought. Access to your life must be a consequence of her proven loyalty, not a reward for her simulated obedience. Stop being the thirsty tourist at the sari sari store and start being the destination. I've given you the black box data to save your retirement and your dignity from a total hostile takeover. Within the next 24 hours, you must execute the stress test. Deny the next GCash request for a sick cousin and watch the mask slip into passive aggressive contempt. If you don't set your perimeter now, you are just a logistical casualty waiting for the final breakup. The cost of your ego is exactly $50,000 in future settlements. Don't be the old fool everyone is laughing at. If this manual saved your sanity, drop your war story in the comments below. The Matrix hates it when we talk. Hit like, subscribe to the Filipina Confession, and if I just saved you a fortune, support the mission with a super thanks or PayPal tip. I'm your eyes inside, and I'm not done stripping away your sweet delusions until you're the one driving the taxi. Stay sharp, stay cold, and remember, Daddy's home, but the bank is officially closed for the night. See you in the field.